Hello and welcome back to the Marketing Chatroom. I'm Kayla Bryant here today with Melody Alvarado. Super excited to have her here on her birthday, nonetheless. Thank you for chatting with me on your special day. We're going to of course. We're going to dive into a lot of talk about creative today. Her title on LinkedIn is Creative Strategic Swiss Army Knife, which I absolutely love. She has experience with branding and content, art and graphic design, music and songwriting, and acting and voice acting. So truly encompassing that Swiss Army knife there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm so looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. So we're going to get into a little bit of the power of just purposeful design, what it's like to be a multifaceted creative, how to kind of position yourself in a difficult job market when that is your vibe. And then a lot of conversation probably around AI and how that's changing things in the creative world.
Absolutely. It's everywhere. We
Awesome.
can't
It
escape.
is. We really can't, not even if we tried. It's coming for all of us eventually, but in the meantime, we'll just do what we can.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump in there while we're on the topic. What is kind of either the real or perceived threat with AI, and what are people like yourselves working in creative spaces doing about it, and what are those conversations sounding like these days?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing a lot of fear and people constantly saying or posting things like AI is taking our jobs and we're going to be out of an industry, and what are we going to do about it? And it's like, oh my gosh, we either have to kill it or we have to find something else. And what do we even find? We've spent our whole careers doing this. And so I'm seeing a lot of that, and I totally understand it because there is quite a bit of usage of AI in place of hiring actual people to do those jobs. But I think we can just do a little shift of our thought process. And rather than thinking, here's the enemy, it's how do we use it to our advantage? How do we use it to be a tool? I actually just said this to somebody the other day. We can use AI as a tool rather than AI making us look like a tool.
I love
Uh,
that.
and that's what it's for. I mean, we've had AI in some form for a long time, and it's just been increasing, and now it's even more prevalent. We notice it a lot more. And so there is the whole thing with the financial part of it where people are like, I can spend so much less money using AI to create XYZ rather than hiring somebody. But the thing that we lose from that is we lose that human emotion, that human touch, that nuance that AI is not going to fulfill. You also miss out on the community, those relationships that you can build while you're working with, from the design side, a client, the back and forth conversations to really dig into why are you doing this? What fills your heart? What are you trying to share with your audience? And we can really hone in on that and figure that out. Sometimes the client doesn't even really know. They just think, I need this. This company had this, so I need this. And that's not necessarily true. It's really digging in, okay, but this is their why. This is why they're doing this. This is why they need this. But that's not what you have, and that's not what you're offering. So let's figure out what it is you want to say and how you want to say it, how you want people to feel. And then after we ask all of those questions, we can figure out what tool or what avenue or what medium or whatever it might be, what it's going to take to complete that objective. And so AI is just going to be like, oh, you want a flyer? Cool. Or you want a logo? I'm going to make you a logo. And then it's like a one and done. There's really no meat behind it. It's just, here you go. You asked me for a thing, I gave it to you. A human is going to ask you, do you really need this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most things creative and all things emotional are a deeply human experience that AI cannot, at least not yet, replicate the entire experience of.
Yeah. So I just think that's important for us to remember that we hold so much value. And if we take a defeated attitude, we've already lost. If we've already said, okay, I'm waving the white flag, I surrender, go ahead,
Yeah.
AI. I mean, we're pretty much saying, go ahead, AI, take the reins, go for it. I'm done. But there's just so much that we can do and we can position ourselves, but sometimes it's hard to convince other people of that. But that's why relationships are so important. But that's becoming another lost art, is in this
Yeah.
social media. Everything is just, I can just post something really quick on a computer and I don't really have to build a relationship. And they're just posting, this is what I offer, this is what I offer, hire me. I'm like, I don't know who you are. Why should I
Hmm.
hire you? There's someone else that's doing the same thing you're doing for like $50 an hour cheaper than you. So I'm going to go with them. So then it's purely a price point. But,
Yeah.
we talk about quality over quantity all the time. There's a reason some people are going to be charging more money than somebody else. It might be experience, or they just have a broader wealth of knowledge that they bring to the table that someone else might not have. And price points, I mean, you got to figure that out on your own and figure out what you have to offer. But I mean, it's just the facts.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, that just the human experience and the storytelling, AI isn't able to fully kind of encapsulate that and present that to people. You also, I mean, when you say like people are using AI instead of hiring, like you also have to have someone who can appropriately use the AI. Otherwise, you're just going to get a bunch of streamlined garbage content.
Or you have people with like 7 fingers on a hand, or like maybe they got 3 hands.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's one of my big, not really even concerns, just I don't know, observations about AI is you can really tell when content is written or generated by AI because it is pretty similar to each other. Like you were saying, like the AI, you can feed it tons of information about your brand, and I have and I do, but there's still something that's not there when you're trying to tell a story and play to people's emotions and really communicate the value of what a brand is and what a brand stands for.
Absolutely.
That you really need a creative human to kind of implement for you.
Yeah, and I think people love. I mean, this is. I'm not saying this as an egotistical thing, but everybody loves talking about themselves in the sense that they want to share what brings them joy. They want to share what's important to them. Some people have a harder time with it because they're scared that they're going to come across as egotistical or all about themselves, and so we kind of shy away from sharing what it is we're doing. We don't want to feel like that icky car salesman that is sharing what we are offering to other people, but we want to. We want to share
Yeah.
it. And so when we give people that space to share their story, share why they got into the occupation or the industry that they're in or the business that they started, whatever it might be, they want to share that story because they also want to find a way to share that with their audience so that they connect with their audience. And so AI, of course, again, is not going to do that. It's not going to sit there and have a conversation with you and be like, tell me, I know you just gave me this prompt, but can you please explain to me why you care about this so much? No, but a human being will definitely do that. And then you create this this connection to what is created for your business that you don't
Yeah.
have otherwise. And if you can connect to what's created for your brand, the likelihood of other people connecting to it is going to be a lot greater because you believe in it. And when you believe in something, the way you talk about it, they're going to feel that. And it's going to just, it's like that ripple effect, that domino effect, where it's just going to keep ding, 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 going down the line. When you don't, and you just get something cheap and you're like, I'm going to get this real quick. I mean, it looks fine, but I don't resonate with it. And people feel
Yeah.
that. People pick up those little nuanced things. They may not recognize that they understand what they're getting, but they're just feeling a vibe and they're like, I don't know, something about this just doesn't feel right. And so they move on.
Yeah.
And the farther we get into technology and the ability to get a hold of things at such quick pace, we move on quicker. So the more important it is
Absolutely.
for us to connect. But how do you connect? You can't fake it to make it. You have to be, and we talk about this all the time, authentic. We have to be authentic. How do you show up authentically? Well, just be yourself. There's only one of you. Don't try.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. One of the things I wanted to touch on today is that we don't have to try to copy someone else. We might see someone else, oh, look at all the success they're having. They're doing so much. That works for them. They're getting so much engagement. They're, getting so much business. I'm going to copy exactly what they're doing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Totally different thing. Different person,
Yeah.
different business, different audience. You copying it isn't going to transfer the exact same results. But we keep thinking we have to copy, copy. A trend goes on social media. Oh, everyone's jumping on it and doing it. And then there's that one person, everyone's doing that, so I'm going to go this way. And then they do something, they create a trend because they were different. They were
Yeah.
unique. And then everyone's like, oh, look, over there. And so they go over there and they try to do the same thing they're doing. And it's just like, be the person that is going to be different. And don't be afraid to be different. You're going to get a lot of no's, people saying you're crazy for doing that. But when we have a world full of people just being copycats, what feels unique?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And I think a lot of people get kind of caught up in like, oh, other people are already doing that, so there's no space for me to do that, or like AI is already doing that, so why would I do it even? But like this podcast, for example, like are there other podcasts about marketing? Absolutely. It doesn't mean that nobody's going to listen to my podcast or that everyone can only exclusively listen to a singular podcast in their life. Like there's
Absolutely.
space for a lot of different styles of creativity, and that can, I think, span a lot of different realms in creative and marketing and also just in life in general. I think that's good advice.
Oh, yeah. Like, for example, when we first had our coffee chat before, I just loved your heart, and you just have this bright personality and this warmth to you. And I just automatically was drawn to that. And somebody else could be saying they're doing the same thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have that same feeling with them because their personality is going to be completely different. And
Mm-hmm.
different personalities are going to jive with different personalities. And it doesn't mean that that person's not successful or doesn't have something. It just means, hey, maybe I'm not meant for that. And we think we have to be meant for everything or meant for everyone. And I was like, no, you don't. There's a reason that there are different avenues to go down because it's going to be, people are going to resonate with somebody different or a different type of product. And you just go with that. That's the beauty of being a human, but it's the beauty also of having different, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever product you have or invention that you have or come up with, or if you're just trying to help somebody, it's great because there's a plethora, there's a smorgasbord of options
Mm-hmm.
depending on what works for you.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good to find what works for you and go that route and not try to make everybody happy because it's impossible. It's like the impossible goal to try to make everybody happy.
Yeah. It absolutely is. And I think that you raise a good point. And human creatives and marketing can help guide brands, I think, a lot in this realm because I think a lot of brands do want to be for everybody. They don't want to say anything that's going to upset anybody ever, which is impossible if you say anything in this world.
Yeah.
And they want to just kind of be, they don't want to be generic, but they just want everyone to like them. And we're like, who's their target audience? And they're like, everyone. Everyone's our target audience, which is it's just not possible. So you can at least help them kind of segment and gear things toward their various identified audiences, which just couldn't possibly be everyone.
Yeah. And not just that, we've become afraid to champion other people and other brands, especially if we exist in the same space. Like, if I
Mm-hmm.
elevate this person who is doing the same thing I'm doing, or this company or brand that offers the same type of product that I offer, I'm taking business away from myself. And that's understandable to feel that pressure and that fear, but it's a lie we tell ourselves. It's like we're trying to just hold everything for ourselves. Like there's no room for anybody else. I had a friend in LA. She's a singer in music, and she was telling me how there's this mentality sometimes of everybody wants the crown, and there's only one crown. And so
Mm-hmm.
everybody's fighting. They put the fake smile on and say, "Oh, great, you do this too. I wish you the best." And secretly, they're saying, "Now you're my competition
Yeah.
because there's only one crown and I'm going to get it, baby." And we just have this thing. It's like there's not just one, because there's so many different avenues. And I think if we champion other people and show that, hey, it's okay to say, I can't offer you what you're looking for, but I know someone who can. So even if you're not doing business with that person, you're sending them to somebody that's going to be a better fit, but they will remember that. And they
Yeah.
might have somebody ask them, "Hey, I'm really looking for this type of service. Do you have any referrals?" And be like, "You know what? I never worked with them, but they hooked me up with someone that took care of me. And I just know that if they did that with me, they're going to take care of you too. Even if they're not the right fit for you, they'll probably send you somewhere that is." And that is, it's more eyes on your brand, but it also shows that you're not so about yourself that you can't tell them that, you know what, I don't think this is the right fit. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We're afraid to say that.
We really are. Yeah, it must be something like deeply embedded in our human nature from I don't know, sometime in the past, because it is funny how in business and just in life people kind of operate in that a little bit more like of a selfish scope capacity where you're just thinking need I need this. This is my goal. But it doesn't mean, like you were saying, it doesn't mean other people can't have that and you can also have it. Like you can both be wildly successful. I mean, I work for a digital marketing agency. There are millions of digital marketing agencies in the world. My agency can't manage every brand in the world, and neither can yours. Like it's silly for us to think that way.
Yeah. It's like we say that, but then when we get the influx of all of this work, we're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't handle it all. It's too much." And like, you should have told them to go over here.
Right. Right. Oh man, it is crazy. Something you mentioned earlier was mindset being a big part of this. And I love that. I mean, I really do think mindset is everything, and that I think we can kind of psych ourselves in or out of something being a success for ourselves. Do you have an example of maybe a story or a moment where you've reframed your thoughts on a situation and how that's kind of helped you move forward?
Oh, only one?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I say that, and it's good for me to say it out loud too, because it's also a reminder for me, because I'm human, and there are going to be times where I feel defeated, or you look at somebody else and you're like, "Man, they're killing it." And I'm so happy for them. I'm so proud of them for it. But then you do have that, okay, I'm going to just have a little pity party right now and say, "But I wish it was me." And so there are those moments where you get into that thought and you have to force yourself. Like I'll have to force myself. Um, for example, I'm in many Facebook groups that are there to offer and pitch your services, but also people will post in there saying, hey, I need somebody to create some album artwork, or I need a singer for this. And so, everybody's commenting and saying, I can help you. And then, everybody's pitching themselves. You DM and say, here's my portfolio. Here's my reel of studio session work. And you just hope and pray that they'll see something in you and pick you. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't even get back to you. And then sometimes they do, and they say, yeah, it's not what we're looking for. Now, that's a little different than the AI conversation, but it is another side of just the industry, the creative industry that we run into, is that we look at other people as our competition, not just AI as our competition. And so it could be really easy to sit there and say, well, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with what I do? And it's that little voice in your head that's like, look, you've got a lot of work to do. You weren't picked this time. You got to get back to shedding, on your craft. And you're always shedding. You're always in there practicing. You're always in there trying to refine and define yourself in your whatever that you're doing. And I'll have to tell myself, it's not that. Sometimes it might be that someone was better than me, and that's fine. It's not my time. It was not my gig. It's somebody else's gig. And I'll just have to reframe my brain. Well, that opens me up for an opportunity that might come, that if I had that, it would have blocked my ability to do this. And so there are so many different ways. Like if you just think the positive thing that, hey, that just opens me up for another opportunity. And then you search for the
Yeah.
other opportunity rather than just sulking in it and like, I didn't get the job and now I'm going to eat a pint of ice cream and feel sorry for myself. And while I'm doing that, there are all these other job opportunities coming through to get, different gigs, and you're missing them all because you're feeling sorry for yourself. And
Yeah.
so it takes an intentional practice to catch it and to notice it. Some people probably don't even realize that they're doing that. They're self-sabotaging because they're just feeling sorry for themselves. And everyone else is
True.
the enemy now. Oh, you got
Yeah.
the gig that I wanted. That was mine. I'm like, it wasn't yours, but okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
happens. It happens often. It's a constant. We're always a work in progress. So we always have to tell ourselves and remind ourselves, okay, mind shift, mindset shift. Okay, don't go down that route. That is a rabbit hole of destruction. And all that's going to do is it could make you regress. Some people will quit on their dream because they felt discouraged.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that mindset shift from I didn't get it, I wasn't good enough, to it wasn't meant for me, and there are other opportunities out there that are.
Mm-hmm.
That's really encouraging.
Yeah. And I think we all kind of need that people to cheerlead us sometimes, but we forget we can cheerlead ourselves too. Most of the time, we don't even share all of the rejections we get because we're embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so we hold it in, and then it just sits there, and we can let it rot. Or we can just turn it around and be like, okay, I'm not going to sit in this. Or maybe you have somebody that you can talk to and say, hey, this happened. And hopefully you choose wise counsel so they're not saying, making you continue to go down that path. But it's just, we need to cheerlead ourselves sometimes too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And when you were talking a little bit ago, I was realizing, because I'm kind of in the sales world, and really though, a lot of creatives and entrepreneurs kind of have to be sales for themselves and kind of position
Absolutely.
themselves in the market. Do you have any advice for creatives, especially like multifaceted creatives such as yourselves, on positioning?
Absolutely. For any creative, I think we just all need to take a step back sometimes and go back into our imagination stations. Find, you know, when we were a child, we were full of ideas, full of creative ideas. There was nothing in our way other than the fact we were probably too small to acquire all of the things necessary. So there we were asking our parents, can you buy this for me? Can I do this? Or we just gather stuff around and we'd create something. Voila. And I think sometimes we need to go back to that childlike mentality of there are no no's. There There's nothing stopping me from creating something. Imagination Station, where it all began, and just there's no rules, just possibilities. And I think it's good to do that rather than finding reasons of why it couldn't work, and just
Mhm.
try it. We'll be
Yeah.
surprised if we just try and do it. Sometimes it's not going to work out, but sometimes it might spawn another idea. So that's the first part, is we need to step back from all the noise and just go back to that. Why we fell in love with it in the first place, and believe in ourselves and believe in our ability to make it happen. Because if we don't have that to back us up when we're trying to sell, then it's going to be so much harder. So on the
Mhm.
selling part, I used to be in network marketing. And when I would talk to other people, they'd be like, I'm not a salesperson. I could never do this. And I would have to tell them, you may not think you're a salesperson because you don't have a sales job, but everybody's in sales. You're constantly selling something. You're selling an idea, a thought. I mean, you're trying to sell yourself in terms of, I want this job or I want this opportunity. And so you're going to have to pretty much tell the person why you are qualified or more than qualified to do that. And
Mhm.
so that goes back to combining what I said before. It's going back to what made you fall in love with it so that you can hold tight to why you believe in it. Because when you believe in it and then you go and try to share with somebody else, if you believe in it so much, you're going to share it from that deep part within, that belief that, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I was made to do. It makes it so much easier to share and convince somebody else. But if you don't feel that or you're not connected to that, you're going to allow somebody else's reservations make you doubt. And then
Yeah.
you're going to pull back and be like, oh, okay, I'll just be quiet. I won't say anything.
That's
Then you
such
see
a
like a
good
weird look
point.
and you're like, oh, what does that weird look mean? Then we start to hyper analyze everything. And then you're like, oh, I don't think they're liking what I'm saying. Oh, let me take that back. And like, no, don't take it back. Just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. I recently was on the interviewing team for a creative role at our agency, and it's exactly what you said. The girl that we ended up hiring was incredibly passionate about what she does, and she had a lot of stories to tell alongside her experience. It wasn't just answering questions, but you could feel that passion shining through in every answer that she gave us. And that's why she ended up getting the job. She wasn't coming across as like scared or incapable or worried about AI. She was basically like, "Yep, I can handle all of that and more. And this is why I love what I do, and these are my goals as a professional." And it really aligned with what we were looking for. But yeah, great advice because that just clicked for me that that's exactly what she did.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful, especially when you look back. It's giving yourself permission to give yourself a chance. It's funny, we want the gig over someone else getting the gig, but we're also hesitant to put ourselves in that position to fight for it because we
Yeah.
don't want to come across as, again, egotistical or like we know it all. And I think it's just like, but if you just speak from your belief of why you love doing this, why you're passionate about it, it makes all the difference. Because then, going back to authentic, it's funny because I feel like it's being used a lot, and some people are like, if I hear authentic one more time, but I'm glad people are using it because I think people are starting to wake up to what that really means
Mhm.
and stepping into that. And I think we have more work to do, but we always do because we're human and we're always going to self doubt and we're always going to compare ourselves to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to give ourselves a break.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think in a way AI has almost spurred that new burst of authenticity too, because there's a difference between AI and human authenticity. And so maybe that's part of that movement, which I've seen people complain about that term as well. But the heart of it is is something that I like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, If we're honest, though, it is kind of being hijacked because you have those people that are using it without actually being authentic because there's like,
True.
oh, here's a trend. Let me just put authentic in my post and I'll be authentic. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Melody. This has been such a lovely chat. I'm so excited for the audience to hear it. Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts you wanted to share?
Um, if I were to hope that anyone would take one thing away from this, it's to be easier on yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people and speak from the heart. It's simple. It's like, it's not easy, but it's simple.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for joining today. Really, really enjoyed this convo and have a great rest of your birthday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me, and I look forward to the next time.
Absolutely. Bye.